Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session designed to help the client that I was working with lose weight by thinking about their body fat similar to a power bank. Now, if you're not familiar with the phrase power bank, it's basically a rechargeable battery used for electronic devices, quite often a mobile phone. And typically you charge it up, you store it full of energy. And then if you need your, let's say, mobile phone recharging when you're away from a plug socket, you can just use the energy stored in the power bank to recharge your, let's say, your phone, your tablet, whatever it might be. Now, why I think this is a helpful metaphor for weight loss is that the vast majority of people don't think about body fat as a store of energy. They don't think of it as fuel. They don't think of it as a source of energy. They think of it as the hassle of having to wear bigger clothes or the embarrassment of not feeling confident or whatever it might be, but they certainly don't think about it as a source of energy. So this hypnosis session is really designed to activate the belief system that if body fat is a source of energy similar to a power bank, then how do you activate and how do you start draining that energy from the power bank? And there's certain things biologically that are necessary. One is a calorie deficit. So you have to use more energy than you consume as food. So you need to be in a calorie deficit. But the main trigger for your body to start using body fat as a fuel source is a low insulin environment. And what creates a low insulin environment is periods of time without eating. So it's difficult to have a low insulin environment if you're eating snacks all the time. And the second is the choice of foods. And the kind of foods that trigger an insulin spike tend to be refined carbohydrates and sugars. So if you have a diet that consists of, let's say, lots of vegetables, although there's carbohydrates in vegetables, there's lots of fiber and there's lots of water. So that offsets the impact from a glycogen and therefore insulin kind of reaction in the body. So in this hypnosis session, it's a metaphor designed to encourage the kind of choices, the kind of behaviors that would lead to a calorie deficit and a low insulin environment that therefore trains the body to take energy from body fat cells rather than only through the food that you consume by chewing and eating. Obviously, this was created for a particular client in mind. Some of the references might not be relevant for you. If you are curious to lose weight in a customized way built around your belief systems and habits in your life, there will be a link in the show notes to schedule a free 30-minute consultation call with me. But for now, you might find that this hypnosis session is useful. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of any worry, tension, or stress to leave your body in your outward breath. Enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. That's right. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice where tension feels like it is in your body. So much so that as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, when you exhale, just get a sense that that tension is melting away and leaving your body in your outward breath. And as your body relaxes, just get a sense that your imagination is becoming more active. That the relaxation is facilitating a powerful, imaginative part to be activated. And I want you to harness that power of your imagination to imagine you're scrolling through your phone, looking at old holiday pictures. And perhaps you can imagine seeing a picture of a beach with white sand. Perhaps this is a beach in Miami, or maybe a beach in Mexico. In fact, if it was a beach in Mexico, you might see not just the white sands, but the crystal clear waters, the palm trees, and perhaps you can imagine seeing buildings made of wood and palm tree leaves. You might imagine seeing boats just bobbing in the water. Perhaps even imagine hearing the gentle waves breaking on the shore. I want you to imagine there's a cabana there on the beach. Comfortable mattress with just enough shade to protect your eyes from the sun. You can feel the warmth of the air, but you can also see the beautiful beach surrounding you. And I want you to imagine you're on this beach entirely by yourself. Still getting a sense that you feel relaxed and peaceful here on this beach. Imagine making yourself comfortable on the mattress in that cabana. Maybe there's a comfortable pillow there and you can imagine lying on that pillow there on the beach, surrounded by what looks like paradise. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and with each descending number, you will start feeling deeper and deeper relaxed, enabling all tension to melt away and facilitating a journey from the conscious to the unconscious. Starting to count. 10. Eyelids feeling heavier. Noticing any tension around the eyes, the eyebrows. And then as you breathe out, just releasing that tension. Now. 9. Becoming aware of any feelings of tension in your forehead, top of your head, even around your ears. breathe in that warm beach air. Feel it melting away any tension. And then exhale any feelings of tension or stress in that outward breath. 8, noticing any tension in the jaw or around the nostrils, around the mouth. And just releasing that tension now. That's it. And then 7, focusing on the muscles in your neck and your shoulders. Imagining crystals of ice locked into your muscle tissue. But here on this beach, surrounded by the warmth of the Mexican sun, you can imagine it just melting away, enabling you to feel so deeply relaxed as that relaxation 6 flows all the way down your arms to the very tips of your fingertips. That's it. 5, as you breathe in, imagine your internal organs are all relaxing. Heart, stomach, lungs, even your internal organs like your liver, your kidneys, your gut, just imagine it all relaxes now. That's it. 5, and then 4 going into lower than your gut, past your diaphragm, down into the top part of your legs. That's it. 4, and then 3, legs getting limp, loose, heavy, just like your arms. That's it. Then 2, and then 1, just feeling so deeply relaxed on that cabana, on that beach, surrounded by paradise. And then just imagine you're falling asleep on that cabana, so deeply asleep that you can drift into a dreamlike state. And in that dreamlike state, I want you to imagine you're on the same beach, seeing that other version of you fast asleep on the cabana. And just to check, imagine holding your arm from your wrist, feeling how limp and loose your arm is, and then as you drop it, seeing it slump by your side, there on that cabana, on that beach. And I want you to imagine walking down the beach until you see a table. And I want you to imagine that there are 4 piles of white substances on a table on the same beach. I want you to imagine the first is sugar. And I want you to imagine what would happen to your body if you had to consume a kilogram of sugar all in one go. I want you to get a sense that perhaps the first few spoonfuls might feel actually quite sweet and nice. Before long, it would start having a dangerous impact on your body. I want you to get a sense that refined sugar is a poison. And then imagine next to that is a kilo of flour. That's the same kind of flour that would make biscuits or bread. And again, if you had to consume a kilo of flour, it would be unpleasant to consume a whole kilo of flour just with a spoon, putting it in your mouth. And imagine doing that, having a spoonful of flour. It would be revolting. You would feel bloated. Your mouth would be dry very quickly. And I want you to also accept that refined flour is another white poison. Next to that, I want you to imagine there is a big pile, a kilo of salt. You might like salt in small doses, but the clue to figure out if something is poisonous is to imagine what would happen in large doses. If you had a kilo of fruit like apples, pineapple, bananas or strawberries, you could have a kilo and there would be no harm to you whatsoever. If you had a kilo of vegetables like carrots, broccoli, cucumber or cauliflower, you might feel full after a kilo of vegetables, but it wouldn't be toxic or poisonous to you in any way. And then imagine looking back at that table and seeing a kilo of salt to consume, knowing full well that if you were to have a kilo of salt in one sitting, it could kill you. As you now accept that sugar, refined flour, and salt are all poisonous, and then see another kilo of another white substance, and this is the sand from the Playa del Carmen. I want you to get a sense that if you try to eat a kilo of sand, not only would it be disgusting, but it would be just as dangerous for your body as perhaps the flour or the sugar, but maybe not as dangerous as the kilo of salt. I want you to get a sense that in each case, all are poisonous for you and all are disgusting. Imagine you have that spoon, and imagine taking a spoonful of sugar, and it might just about be tolerable. And then imagine eating a spoon of refined flour, feeling your mouth so dry, starting to feel bloated. And then imagine a spoonful of salt, feeling that instant disgust, like you're gonna perhaps throw up. And then imagine a spoonful of the white sand from the beach. And I want you to tap into this feeling of disgust, training your body to see each of these white substances as toxic and poisonous and unhelpful to take your life in the direction that you want to take it. The only reason that food companies don't put sand in the products is because of the 4 substances. It's the only one that isn't addictive. Sugar is addictive. Flour is treated by the body as if it's a sugar and is addictive. People can be addicted to bread, biscuits, cookies. And I want you to get a sense that salt is also addictive. All are very cheap. That's why food companies put them into their foods. They're cheap and addictive. Sand is also cheap. But because it's not addictive, you won't find it inside food as an ingredient. And the way the food companies will trick you is they will hide it alongside other ingredients. So the addictive part keeps you wanting more, and they don't mind if you get sick, if it leads to dangerous diseases, the kind of diseases that kill people every day. And I want you to get a sense that from this point forwards, you will have a preference for healthy, natural foods. Because in all these cases, with sugar, with salt, it could be naturally found in real foods at the levels that are safe. Sugar in fruit is fructose. Sugar in dairy products is lactose. sugar in vegetables is just known as non-starchy carbohydrates. In every case, it's there. And if your body needs salt, you can find it in natural foods like meat, fish, even exists in celery and vegetables. All of the useful parts of these foods can be found in natural foods. And I want you to get a sense that if it's healthy when it's linked to natural foods, but it's toxic and poisonous in its refined form, doesn't it make sense to just allow your intuition to help you make choices based on, was it created in a factory or a laboratory, or was it created in nature? There are certain things that are created in nature, created in orchards and farms. And those things are the things that you will crave because it nurtures your body. There are foods that heal and foods that harm. And if you had all the foods that harm, the vast majority would be processed with additives and chemicals. And if you looked at all the foods that heal, the vast majority would be created in nature: berries, fruits, salads, vegetables. Almost all of the superfoods are plant-based, and even those that aren't, like eggs or certain varieties of fish, are still created in nature. So you will crave natural foods. I want you to imagine here you are on the beach, away from any source of electricity. But imagine your phone is with you, and your phone perhaps has just 1 or 2% left of battery. And I want you to imagine somewhere nearby is a power bank. And that power bank has a cable that can charge your phone. So therefore you didn't need to plug it into a socket connected to a building. The battery was sufficient to recharge the phone. And I wonder what would happen if you started thinking of body fat not as these pounds that you're lugging around that you just want to lose. But what if you started perceiving your body fat as a biological power bank containing days worth of energy, perhaps weeks, perhaps even months? The trigger for the phone to use the power bank is the cable connecting into the phone and detecting that energy is in the power bank, and then it starts working. Taking energy from one location and moving it to a different location. And I want you to think of your body fat as a biological power bank. But just like the phone needed the cable to connect to trigger the transference of energy, the same thing applies to your biological power bank. And there are two things necessary to switch on your biological power bank that contains days and days, even weeks worth of energy. It requires you to use more energy than you eat. Some people would call it a calorie deficit. And the second thing is a low insulin environment. And the easiest way to have a low insulin environment is to avoid processed foods and refined sugars. But there's a third way that you can trigger your body's natural ability to start using your onboard power bank. And that is sleep. I want you to imagine that if after your last meal of the day, perhaps 7 or 8 p.m., you didn't eat anything else, you're training your body to look for alternative sources of energy. You're training your body to find your onboard power bank. One of the best things that you can do that represents the cable of the power bank connecting to the phone to start that process is to start enjoying going to bed hungry, falling asleep hungry. And I want you to imagine that that is the on switch of your onboard power bank to train your body to burn body fat. Get a sense that you're keen to test what happens when you fall asleep hungry. And you might be surprised to learn that if you fall asleep hungry, you don't wake up hungry. And that's because your body has found your onboard power bank and is already starting to turn body fat into energy, ketones, sugars in your blood that it can then use to give you that energy. I want you to imagine seeing yourself back in your home, in your normal evening routine. I want you to see yourself finishing your evening meal and then doing something to stimulate your mind so you're not bored. But even if you are bored, I want you to notice that the scavenging stops, that you're eager to go to bed with low-level feelings of hunger, knowing that you're training your body to burn fat. And I want you to see this happening day after day. See yourself with the discipline and the willpower not to eat after your final meal of the day, to see yourself sleeping when hungry and waking up not hungry. And imagine this happens day after day, week after week, and see yourself getting slimmer, healthier. See yourself making food choices that have less salt, less sugar, less refined carbohydrates. The white poisons, it's not that you can't eat them, it's just that you don't want them because you know how toxic they are. Refined sugar is a poison, refined flour is a poison, and refined salt is a poison. So see yourself seeking sugars and salts from natural ingredients rather than added or processed. As the days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months, see that future version of you with an increased desire to be more active. See yourself doing more cardio in the gym, but perhaps see yourself doing cardio in the gym while you're doing something else, perhaps watching a TV show or a movie, maybe on your phone or a tablet. See yourself being more active. Because when you make an improvement in one area of your life, like nutrition and diet, your body has an urge to make even more improvements through physical activity. See the days turning into weeks, weeks turn into months. See yourself getting leaner, stronger, and healthier, until you imagine seeing yourself perhaps 3 or 6 months in the future with the body shape that you desire, having lost those excess pounds. But what you lost in those excess pounds, you gained in high levels of confidence and self-esteem. And then step into that future version of you so you get a taste of how good it's going to feel to have lost that weight and gained all that confidence and self-esteem, a sense of pride, a sense of feeling in control, and accept accept the idea that it all came from choices, and the best choice you can make is to choose foods that help rather than foods that hinder, foods that nurture rather than foods that poison. I want you to imagine leaving that body, finding yourself back there on that beach, looking at these 5 piles of white substances and deciding that you don't want any of them. You don't want a spoonful of sugar, flour, salt, or beach sand. You would rather have natural, healthy foods. And then return to that version of you lying on a mattress on a cabana there on the beach. Step inside yourself so you're also lying on the beach, taking all of these new ways of thinking with you, with a desire to make slow, steady progress, shifting away from processed foods towards natural foods, refined salt to natural, healthy ingredients that come from your food. Imagine stepping up out of the cabana and walking down the beach until you can feel your toes in the water of the sea, with a deep sense that you're changing for the better, that you are the captain of your own ship and you're steering that ship towards a future that is desirable for you. And then imagine that you're jumping back into the version of you looking at holiday photos in your phone before realizing that you're back in your own body, listening to my voice firmly in the present. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that all parts of you are back in the present, but with a desire to take that 50 days of energy in your biological power bank and to train your body to use it. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake. Wide awake. Wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.